G'day chaps, it's I, Clumpature139. I recently played a good old vanilla game of Batman Arkham Asylum for the first time in probably 5 years. Watched all the cutscenes, talked to all the characters, got 100%, you know, the works. I just never had a reason to until now, because I thought I had basically the whole game memorized and knew every single story beat like the back of my hand. Turns out, as seems to always be the case, there were things that I missed. Or more accurately, never even thought of until now. I was left with a number of strange, completely unanswered questions that despite knowing damn near everything about this series, I just still couldn't figure out. At first, this was going to be a short, or maybe even a series of shorts, but then I saw just how many of these things there were, and how much I could say about them, so figured it may as well be a full video. So, because I am very behind and needed something a little bit easy for this month, here's 5 questions that we still don't have the answer to in Batman Arkham Asylum.
How's it hanging, Babs?
Number 1, where were they taking Croc in the intro?
A toy collar won't stop me from killing you, Batman. I'll rip you apart, eat your bones.
So, while you're walking Joker through all the security customs at the beginning of Arkham Asylum, we get a little cameo from Killer Croc as he's apparently in transit to somewhere. He's sent off down this adjacent hallway, and then he disappears until he shows up later in the game for his lair quest. My question is, why were they taking him out to begin with? And more importantly, why did he go back down to his lair? If he was sent through this hallway, the only place he could have been brought to is the intensive treatment lobby, which, as far as I know, only exists to be a security checkpoint all patients must pass through before being admitted. There's absolutely no reason that he should be brought out here unless he was somehow being released, or I guess brought to a different building for a meeting with his doctor. But you see, his doctor in all of his audio tapes is Dr. Gretchen.
You don't really eat people. It's just an urban myth.
And she was all the way over here dealing with Zsasz when the chaos went down. Which implies that, during this night, she was working on Zsasz again. So, I don't think she'd be taking time out of that schedule to be dealing with Waylon, especially after how their last take together went off.
He's just food to me, and once I get a taste, I want the rest of the meal. You know what I mean.
Get him out of here. Now.
So, seriously, why were they bringing him out here? And more importantly, after they do bring him out, what the hell happens to him? Less than 4 minutes after he walks off, Harley takes control of the systems, gives that control to Joker, and unleashes hell. And about 15 minutes after that, she and Bowles are escorting Gordon out of the building, blowing up the elevator in the process, and gunning down a bunch of guards.
Bowles! Frank, what are you doing? No, put it down!
We hear a lot of commotion over the radio, but we never hear about Croc being on the loose. Which means, maybe, during the small period of time that we hear the chaos just starting, a group of guards were able to escort him back to his lair, I guess. So within 15 minutes, they were able to wrangle this wild animal back into the elevator, keep him there for the full 1.5-minute ride all the way down, yes, I timed it, and lock him back up in his lair without even fully knowing what was going on, and did it without anyone else dying either. The entire time this is going on, by the way, Blackgate prisoners are on the loose causing all kinds of chaos, which would no doubt prevent some of the guards from containing Croc. Either that scenario, or Croc was on the loose the entire time, and instead of taking his chance at getting off the island like the rest of the crazies, he decided to stay behind and saunter himself back to his lair of his own volition. But it's not like he was an important part of Joker's plan for the evening. He never expected Batman to go down to Croc's lair, because there was never anything down there that he would have known about. Only Ivy and probably Dr. Young knew about the spores that could be used to create an antidote. And Dr. Young is dead, while Ivy was deliberately off of Joker's party list until Harley let her go free. So it's not like Joker hired Croc to patrol his own lair and keep Batman from getting to the spores, because as far as he knew, there was nothing down in that lair to need guarding. Croc was down there, literally just waiting all night for Batman and Scarecrow to show up because he wanted to be. And you see, knowing how Croc feels about incarceration, see Season of Infamy, I don't believe that he would stay down there because he wanted to. He even has his little jump scare cameo at the sewer entrance by the Batcave, behind a door that's allegedly sealed shut until we make our way through the lair. So like, is he trapped down there or not? The entire intensive treatment building is under Joker's control, so Croc could absolutely leave at any time. Was he just waiting in his lair, anticipating that Batman would eventually show up so that he could eat him whole?
That reminds me, I really need to get me some new shoes.
Move up.
All things considered, this initial cameo was probably just the devs' way of letting us know that Croc was a character that was going to exist at some point in this game, so that Ivy saying we needed to delve into Croc's lair wouldn't come as this crazy reveal that suddenly Killer Croc is in Arkham and we need to go face him off on his own home turf. Which even then is still weird to think about, considering Scarecrow, Bane, Riddler, and Ivy were all surprise appearances when they first showed up. We didn't know Crane was here until he gassed us in the medical building. Ivy was locked up all night in the penitentiary until Harley sprang her. Riddler literally just appears in our head after 30 minutes of chaos to say that we're playing a game with him now. And Bane, even Batman says, wasn't supposed to be there, rather in the wind after he broke out of Blackgate. So why was Croc so special that we simply needed to see him show up in the elevator and then just saunter off to who the hell knows where? It's still unanswered to this day and also has no reasonable explanation. If you think you have one, I promise you probably don't.
I will find you!
Question 2. What was the point of Harley's party list? This list only shows up in 2 scenes. When Harley springs Ivy, where she says Ivy isn't on the list, and when Batman snatches it from her after their fight in the penitentiary. Batman makes such a big deal about it, taking a moment to acknowledge its existence on her person before snatching it up, analyzing it, even getting the full screen treatment for the players to see, asking questions about it, and then seemingly put it away for later use. And then it's just never seen or heard from again. See, Chekhov's gun says that if a gun is shown to the audience, that gun must go off by the finale. The party list is directly shown to the audience, and is thusly never mentioned even in passing again. Batman doesn't even tell Oracle that he got the list from Harley, only that he got her fingerprints, which yes, he did do in the same scene, but not the list. And doesn't it seem like getting a list that Harley thought important enough to yell out to Batman saying it was hers would be an important piece of information to share with Oracle?
That's my party list!
Quiet.
And you know, I honestly don't think that the list even means anything either. Take a quick look at all the names on the list. We got Selina Kyle, Catwoman, Harvey Dent, Two-Face, Jervis Tetch, Mad Hatter, Basil Karlo, Clayface, Waylon Jones, Killer Croc, Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin, Arnold Wesker, the Ventriloquist, and Luke Oliver, the lucky contest winner who got to be that one weird guy in lockup with his missing arm. Batman wonders why certain names have smiles next to them, obviously not noticing that the ones without smiles are also crossed out, and those villains just so happen to be the ones who escaped when Joker opened all the cells. The only common thread between the smile names is that they're still in Arkham. Clayface is locked in his special cell right next to Sharp, Luke is directly above him in his special windowed cell, just kinda doing his own thing and grunting, and Croc is down in his lair below intensive treatment, waiting for us to navigate our way down there. Harley says this is her party list, But more than half of the alleged invitees have already gone and fucked right off the island, and the remaining 3 aren't exactly the partying type. But even still, it's not like any of these guys actually end up making it to Joker's party at the end anyways. Croc is down in the sewers, flowing his way out to sea, and Carlo and Oliver are still locked up in their cells by the time the party starts. Joker didn't even care to bother releasing them, even though he released everybody else from the penitentiary. It's obviously not a list of necessary assets or anything, because again, half of them have gone and fucked right off the island, and because both Bane and Scarecrow were integral parts of Joker's plan, and neither of them are on the list. Plus, like we established in a previous entry, he had no intention of Bats ever fighting Croc. Point is, Harley's list is completely meaningless. And to be fair, I could accept that being the case. Joker loves throwing curveballs to Batman to keep him off his trail, and this list very well could have been one of those curveballs, meant to make him ponder over a red herring while his plan keeps unfolding and Bats is just wasting his time. It's a common thing that he does.
Officer Bowles.
But I feel like if that were the case, Batman would have just acknowledged it in some way. Like, even a quick line of dialogue in the Batcave where he examined the list and deduced a couple of ideas based on what it could mean before discarding it as meaningless garbage. Every other piece of information he collects through this game is important in some way, or is at least acknowledged because of how well he knows Joker. Even seemingly forgotten events are mentioned at some point later in the game, chief among them being Joker's bombs planted across Gotham.
If I see any lawmen, vigilantes, or do-gooders in tights coming this way, I'll start detonating random bombs around the city.
You hear about them in the first 20 minutes of the game, then absolutely nothing until all the way in the mansion, when Oracle just kinda randomly lets you know that they were all duds.
Just so you know, the GCPD found one of Joker's bombs downtown. It was full of marzipan and kittens.
As I thought, it's just a twisted diversion.
That ultimately makes it a completely meaningless plot thread that has absolutely no impact on what the player is doing, but the devs thought it necessary to acknowledge because it was a plot thread that they set up and needed to pay off. So why didn't they do the same with the party list?
Why the smiles next to certain names?
You're the detective, you tell me!
Question number 3. Why do so many people still think that Batman doesn't exist? Even taking the prequel games out of the question, treating Arkham Asylum as its own thing like it was intended to be with no other games in existence, how can people not believe in Batman when he's been fighting crime for nearly 10 years now? Like, I'd get it if it was just a random civilian who barely moved into Gotham or whatever, but how can you work in Arkham Asylum, the place that all of the costumed supercriminals are sent to be treated for their insanity, and not believe that Batman was the one bringing them in? Like, okay, it makes sense for Origins and Shadow folks to not believe in him. It's only year 2, he's just started his crusade, barely anyone has seen him. He's only been caught on camera once. But Arkham Asylum takes place so late in his career. How can you not know or even believe that he exists? News outlets refer to him directly as Batman, talking about how he may have perished on the island.
There are unconfirmed reports that Batman was killed during the Joker's daring escape, but I must stress, this is currently unconfirmed.
He speeds down the streets in his own incredibly recognizable sports car, even parking said car outside of Arkham while he bringing Joker back in, who you need to deal with in your day-to-day because you're a guard or doctor in the place meant to rehabilitate him. Do you not believe that the Joker exists either? By the logic of Batman not existing, Joker must not exist either. It must be some other maniac blowing up kindergarten classes. Of course! It honestly feels like the stupidest lines of dialogue to give characters in this game. Especially Dr. Cassidy here, who, as we know from the road to Arkham, was saved by Batman less than a month ago from Zsasz. she of all people should know firsthand that he does exist. And this guard isn't getting off the hook either.
Batman, what are you I'm sorry, I kinda never thought you were real.
You're telling me in however long you've been guarding at Arkham that you've never once seen Batman dropping off an inmate? Or hell, seen him swoop in and stop an inmate's escape attempt like Crane in his audio tapes?
It should only be a matter of time before... What?
Give it up. Now!
Never in your career as a guard. And yet, so many of these other guards know Batman practically on a first-name basis to a point where they aren't even surprised to see him being the one saving them in desperate times. It just feels like such a stupid way to characterize these NPCs. It's like, why else would your city invest thousands of dollars in a giant bat beacon for your night sky? To praise Camazotz, the Mayan god of bats? Seriously, people, use your damn brains and explain your logic to me. Question number 4 that I, and let's face it, everybody else had during any number of our playthroughs that still totally doesn't have an answer. Who put up all these gargoyles for Batman to hide on? That would be Cyrus Pinckney. Yeah, we actually do know that one. Not much to say, I just wanted to have a nice round 5 number. Anyway, the real final question. What the hell is up with the spirit of Arkham?
I am the spirit of Amadeus Arkham.
So, pretty much entirely due to the weird timeline shenanigans caused by Joker's audio tapes, the community has kinda quietly agreed that the tapes as a whole are in the questionable canon state, similar to the comics. We'll pull from them if we like a story detail that they mention, but for the most part, they don't really matter. Same thing with the character bios, but amplified. With notable bios of Hush, Hugo Strange, and Jack Ryder contradicting their appearances in later games, the community kind of just agreed that the bios themselves must be non-canon. More of a way of celebrating the Batman mythos rather than building a concrete storyline that would be built on later. The one that we never really seem to talk about though, that honestly I haven't seen creators mention in a long friggin' time, are the Chronicles of Arkham. In case you've forgotten about these Chronicles, which I can't really blame you if you did, they're essentially just another Riddler collectible, allow me to remind you. Throughout the asylum are 24 hidden slates that detail the story of Amadeus Arkham and his alleged successor, giving the impression that Arkham's spirit is still haunting the asylum, carrying on his legacy decades after his passing through somebody else. As Batman finds and deciphers more of these sigils, the story becomes more clear. Someone in power has gone batshit insane, began killing asylum patients, and is planning to kill supercriminals like Poison Ivy and the Joker. After uncovering all of the Chronicles, the Spirit reaches out to whoever found all of them and asks them to come find him, so that together the two of you could save Gotham.
If you are strong-willed enough to follow my tales, you are strong-minded enough to deduce my identity.
This leads to Batman finding the final sigil at the back of the penitentiary, where we left Warden Sharp for his own protection while going after Harley Quinn. And as it turns out, the spirit of Arkham was Quincy Sharp the entire time. He believes that he was personally chosen by Amadeus Arkham specifically to carry on his legacy and bring justice to Gotham by purging the world of the criminally insane, and has now asked Batman to join him in carrying out this mad crusade because of his dedication to uncovering the secrets of Arkham Asylum.
I implore you, continue my work. This city deserves a savior. Continue my work.
So, why didn't Batman immediately hunt him down and put him under arrest? Because the thing is, this isn't one of those hidden secrets that gets you nothing, like the secret office or Scarecrow's boat. This is a secret you were meant to find. And since you were meant to find it, that means it counts as a side quest, and therefore counts as being canon to the overall Arkham story. Like, there's no arguing this. In the story of Arkham Asylum, Batman must solve this case. Because if he doesn't, that means that he never solves all of Riddler's puzzles either. Because the only way to complete Riddler's challenges is to scan all of the Chronicles of Arkham. And we know that Riddler being stopped is canon because of his continued appearance in later games referencing Batman stopping him over the years.
You cheated, Batman. You couldn't have outsmarted me.
Meaning that no matter what, Batman must solve the case of the Spirit of Arkham, and therefore gets a confession that Quincy Sharp has murdered asylum patients and committed conspiracy to murder against multiple others.
I took my frustrations out on a lone patient. His case notes suggested he was a paranoid schizophrenic. His pleas, as I beat him to death, suggested much more.
Batman even notes down in the bio screen that he needs to stop whoever is creating these entries to stop them from causing more harm. And yet he simply never does that. Because come Arkham City and suddenly Sharp is the mayor, opening a city-scale super prison to hold every piece of criminal scum in Gotham. So why didn't Batman hunt him down, bring the evidence to the police, and have Sharp arrested? Literally no reason. And in fact, we're given more evidence in Arkham City that he probably should have been, because of his association with Hugo Strange, with Strange mind-controlling Sharp likely being the cause of the Amadeus Arkham persona manifesting within him. There's a bunch of city stories that note Sharp's blatant corruption, how Batman and Gordon are vehemently against him, but none of them ever mention the killings during his time running Arkham Asylum. They're entirely focused on how he's basically just Strange's puppet. The Spirit of Arkham ends up being a completely forgotten plot thread that, unlike the other character bios and tapes, is one that I really would have liked to see them continue into the next game. It could have been really cool, even as a completely background story element, to see Batman attempting to get this information about Sharp out, but due to his connections, it simply never stuck anywhere. In retrospect, this must be Rocksteady looking into the future and knowing that politicians are never held accountable for their crimes, despite overwhelming mountains of evidence.
He smiled as I showed him the knife. I told him how I will use it, how I will cleanse this city.
Not pointing fingers at anyone in particular, of course not, I would never do such a thing. But I'm just saying, it would be pretty nice to release the Arkham Files, Batman. If you made it this far into the video, comment "release the Arkham Files" so that I know you're a real one.
Once I have dealt with the monster, I think it will be time to see if green wood does, in fact, burn.
I just think they could have had a really good corrupt politics story going, rather than just having Sharp be brainwashed to do Strange's bidding. Especially since Sharp is a completely original character to the Arkham series. I would have really liked to see more of him. But as it stands, Sharp and the Spirit of Arkham were killed off when they made the big leap over to Arkham City. Shame, but is what it is. And we were just left with another great big unanswered question.
I trust that through my writings you will do what is right. Please, I implore you, continue my work. This city deserves a savior. Continue my work.
And that will do it for these questions, chaps. Thanks for watching. This was just something quick I thought of doing while working on a much bigger project in the background, so stay tuned for that. But if you think you have any explanations to these questions that I somehow missed, or have your own questions that I simply don't even acknowledge, let me know about them in the comments, and maybe I'll applaud you for correcting me. But with all that being said, do all of the YouTube stuff, because there's always room for more in the Asylum. Release the Arkham Files. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later, chaps.
Though my own curse is to forever remain in the shadows, my story is carved into the very soul of Arkham, and will only be revealed to those dedicated enough to discover it.